Hello mom, good day. This is my presentation. So this task required individually make a record video presentation, the two specific cases of coral reef threats, one direct and one indirect threats. Specific direct threat to coral reef is anchor damage from boat, where heavy anchor are dropped directly onto the coral structure, breaking and crushing it. An indirect threat is sedimentation from coastal development, where construction and land clearing lead to soil runoff into the ocean, clouding the water and smothering corals by blocking sunlight and preventing photosynthesis. So we have four cases of the coral threats. First is the nature of the threat, direct or indirect. So this refers to whether the threats directly impacts of corals. Example, destructive fishing practices, or indirectly affects it through changes in the environment. Example, climate change leading to the ocean acidification. Direct threat is a specific and immediate danger that is clearly communicated either verbally, in writing, or through action, indicating an intent to cause harm to a person, property, or system. And an indirect threat is a less specific and less immediate danger that suggests a potential for harm but does not explicitly state an intent to cause harm. It might be expressed through valid warnings, hints, or concerning behaviors that imply a future risk. The second case of coral reef threats is how the threat coral reefs health ecosystem services. To focus on the specific mechanism by which the impact damages corals and those damages, in turn, impact benefits that coral reefs provide to human and other species. And the third cases of coral reef threats is the main human activities causing the threat. The human activities causing the threat are habitat destruction from deforestation, urbanization, and agriculture. Also, pollution and the overexploitation of resources such as overfishing and mining. And the last case of coral reef threats is any ecological or socio-economic consequences observed. On the broader impacts resulting from the threat, including changes in marine biodiversity, ecosystem function, local economies, and coral reefs. We have two impact analysis. First is assess the severity of its threat on the coral reefs biodiversity and human communities relying on the services. And the second is discuss whether the threat is localized or widespread, acute or chronic. And assess the severity of its threat on the coral reefs biodiversity and on human communities relying on the services. So coral reefs severity threats from climate change, local pollution, unsustainable fishing, and coastal development, severely degrading biodiversity and vital ecosystem services like food, coastal protection, and tourism from human activities. So in the whether the threat is localized or widespread, so depends on its origin and spread. Localized threat effects specific are like a sudden flood in one town, while a widespread threat impacts a large region, such as global pandemic, and acute threat is sudden, severe, and short-term, whereas chronic threat is long-developing, persistent, and can last for extended periods, potentially causing long-term health issues. So next is in proposed solutions, we have two that suggest realistic and effective measure to mitigate or manage its threat. And the last is consider both community-based and policy-level approaches. realistic and effective measure to manage or mitigate its threats effectively. First, identify and assess threats, then provide them by severity, and apply more mitigation strategies. Avoid the threat by not engaging in risky activities, transfer the risk, control the risk by implementing accepting the risk if the cost of mitigation is too high. And consider both community-based and policy-level approaches. Community-based and policy-level approaches are complementary rather than exclusive strategies for social changes, with the former local participation for sustainable context-specific solutions. Policy provides the overarching rules and resource allocations, while community-based ensure these policies are relevant, accepted, and effectively implemented by those are intended for addressing issues like inequities, social well-being, and environmental concerns.